What is good, Tsla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I wanted to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. And break down what's going on with the news and the data that just came out and how the market is still responding to what Jerome Powell said from yesterday. Before I break down all this information, though, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I'm personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed up to 5 free stocks. If you put in $1,000, you are guaranteed up to 15 free stocks. The offer ends in 2 weeks. Check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with Tesla and the market. Overnight, Tesla has exploded. The stock is currently up about almost 4% in the pre-market, and we're continuing to see buyers stepping in, trying to push it up higher. But the question is, will Tesla continue to push up higher, or is Tesla about to get hit with some resistance? And how is Tesla looking from a technical standpoint? So I'm going to break that down in just a couple of minutes. Let's first talk about some news. We had initial jobless claims that came out this morning. It was aligning with expectations, which is once again good for the stock market, and everything else is very close to expectations. Continuing jobless claims is a little bit hot. Besides that, everything else was, aligning and pretty much fine. So at 11:30 a.m., we have the 4-week bill auction and the 8-week bill auction coming out, and some mortgage data around noon. So between 11:30 a.m. and noon, there could be a little bit more volatility. We're going to be watching that just to see what happens with these rates. And besides that, I mean, there's not really much else coming out for today, just minor data in the morning, and the market's going to have some leeway. Now, for Friday, we have the unemployment numbers. So don't forget about that. And that's pretty much it for now. Now, when it comes to earnings, we had Shopify announcing earnings. They did relatively well. It's good for them. And after the market closes, we have Apple's earnings coming out. This is going to be very important. We will see what this causes. If Apple does well, expect the market to squeeze even more for Friday. If Apple doesn't, there could be a pullback. As of right now, the bulls are coming back and are trying to push the market higher. So let's break down some levels. How is Tesla looking? We're going to start off with the daily. On the daily from yesterday, as I told you guys, we have a bullish looking daily candle, so I expected more upside for Tesla. But when you look at the weekly, it's also looking like we have a nice reversal candlestick forming, and Tesla's showing some life. Now, on the 4-hour time frame with the extended hours, you could see that Tesla just ripped this morning. It still has a bullish looking 4-hour candle and still looks bullish as of right now. There's no sign of it basically like rejecting. We're watching this resistance between 214 and 215. So, like up here, that's going to be acting as our next resistance zone. So, I'm going to change this up just a little bit. So we're going to be watching to see how Tesla responds to this resistance up here. But if anything, I would say that we're still seeing buyers stepping in. If they keep pushing it up, watch 214 as resistance, 215, 216.8, 218, and then 220. Those are some resistance levels to watch for. If we break 220, expect 222.5, and then 225 above that. For support, you're going to be watching 212 on Tesla, 210, 208, 205 to 204, 202.5, and 200. Right now, it just shot up, and I mean, it's just continuing to climb. So there's no sign of weakness just yet, but there is one concern I have. And that's because when you look at like the 30 minutes time frame, the RSI is at 82. On the 1-hour time frame, the RSI is at 77. So it is overbought, and we're going to be watching our 1-hour 200 EMA around this 215 area. We're going to be watching resistance very carefully because the market is very overbought. So what could happen is, because there's so much euphoria, there's so much excitement over what Jerome Powell said. If you look at the news, the market is very bullish so far to start off November. Jerome Powell said that the Fed is going to keep rates as they are. They don't have a decision for December yet. And the market was so excited about that because there's a good possibility the Fed has paused and they're not going to raise rates again. And he also said that they're going to do what they have to do to bring inflation down. But because of this, the market is continuing to become excited as the market is very future looking. Just a couple of other pieces of news. Starbucks customers are spending more at the chain's cafes, and the IRS is going to let retirement savers put up more money in 2024. So anyways, with all of that news, Tesla's still pushing up, so watch this resistance. If we do cool off, what tends to happen is when we have this much excitement, this much euphoria, when we cool off, we might just see buyers step in instantly and start to push this higher. They might just try to keep buying the dips like crazy. So there might not be that much pulling back, but I do anticipate that we're going to see moments where we get little pullbacks here and there, then buyers step in. It pulls back a little bit, and buyers step in, and it might just continue to uptrend through the majority of the day. Tesla's very strong. The market was very oversold. It's finally time for it to push up. It's a little overbought, so be careful with it, but watch these resistance levels, and we'll see how high this thing goes. Now, next off, we have SPY. Now, I was talking about how we had this tight resistance at the 200 EMA on the daily time frame. Instead, SPY does not care. I mean, this thing is just going and going. It's pretty crazy. It actually gapped above the 200 EMA, so it broke some tough resistance at 423. It is continuing to get bought up. Now, one concern about SPY, just like Tesla's, we're super overbought. The 1 hour RSI is at 81, and we're watching 427. Now, one thing I want to notice that if we break 427.5, the 4 hour 200 EMA is at 428.78. And we look bullish on the 4 hour. So, if just like Tesla, like I was saying, right, we could see this pull back a little bit and the buyers just step in and start pushing it higher. I'm expecting a lot of buying and we're seeing some good volume so far. So, what are some levels to watch for on SPY? On SPY, if we're bullish, you're going to be watching 427 as resistance. If we break down, watch 427.5. If we get above 427.5, we could just push up for 429 because that's where our 200 EMA is on the daily. And we could just test that. If we start cooling off, you're going to be watching support at 426.5. If we lose this, watch 426, 425 flat below that. If we lose 425, 423 could come as we have a gap down there. So what do I think is more likely? I think that it's going to cool off a little bit because of how overbought it is, but the buyers will be back and try pushing it up again. And we're going to see a lot of buying pressure, so I don't expect it to pull back hard. Minor pullbacks here and there, and buyers will continue to step in. So watch resistance and see if we could continue to break out. On the QQQ, this is continuing to rip because of Nvda and Aapl and Tesla. Is currently testing this resistance right here, very close to 362. If we continue to reject, watch, we have some support at 361.6. If we lose that, you're going to be watching 360. If we lose 360, this thing has potential to come down to 358. It's going to be the next level to watch for. If we lose 358, watch 355. If we're bullish, you're going to be watching this push up towards, basically we have to try to break this tough resistance at 362.25. If we break that, you're going to be watching 364 to 365, 366.25, and then 368. My gut's telling me that we're getting hit with some tight resistance, so we're going to cool off a little bit, but the buyers are continuing to step in and they're going to continue to defend it. Now, I just wanted to call out that the QQQ looks bullish on the daily, but it's overbought. The 4 hour is overbought. The 30 minutes, the 1 hour is very, very overbought with an 84 RSI. So it's going to cool off a bit. It needs to cool off just a little bit, cool off the RSI. Watch that 360 support, and buyers will just continue to defend it. I think the pulling back will be minor. It's not going to like tank. Some pulling back will happen here and there, but buyers will continue to step in. And I think that it's going to continue this way for quite some time. For Nvda, we're watching this 435 resistance. I didn't really mark this. Let me just remark this for you. So right about here, 435, if we break this, it's going to push up to 438. That's where we have some tight resistance. If we break that, watch 440. For support, you're going to be watching right over here, this previous resistance becoming support at around 430. It's going to be a key support for it right now. If we lose 430, you could watch Nvidia come down towards 425 and then 420, 422.5, and then 420. In my opinion, just like SPY, we might see something similar where it kind of cools off and buyers continue to step in. We're going to be watching to see if Nvidia could break 435. If we manage to do so, we could be hitting 438. So watch this potential resistance. This is the previous resistance we had right here. Now, another thing worth noting on Nvidia is that on the 4 hour time frame, Nvidia is looking bullish. And on the daily, we have a potential bullish structure that's developing off this Wyckoff accumulation. So there is potential for Nvidia to start filling these gaps all the way up to like the 440s and 450. There is potential for that in the future. For now, it might cool off just a little bit because we're very overbought, but I think buyers will step right back and try to push this thing even higher. It is looking bullish so far. And then we have Apple. It's going to be the last one I talk about in this video. Apple is, continuing to rip. We're going to be watching this resistance around, it's just under 177. We also have resistance at 176.5, and we have support at 175.5, and then 174.5. And don't forget 175 and then 173.5. Apple's continuing to rip up. It looks like it wants to go up to this like liquidity zone at 178 in the future. But we need to see this thing break 177. We have earnings very soon. Excuse me. So just be very, very careful. We will see how earnings end up affecting it. We will see if it launches more or not. So watch and see what earnings cause and remain calm, cool, and collected, guys. I will see you guys in the next one. Apple is cooling off a bit, so watch that 176 support and 175.5. We will see if this continues. All right. So watch the levels very carefully. Just know that Apple is looking like it's uptrending so far. Buyers should continue to step in, but make sure you're very careful because of how overbought the market is. So watch support and resistance and just know that buyers should continue to step in and be very careful. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. Do not let FOMO get the best of you. Make sure you time those entries more efficiently and do what's best for your own portfolios. That is not financial advice. Thank you again and peace out.